300 videos. This is the 300th video. DJ Trains did a video a few days ago now on freight cars and their purpose. Kind of general. I'm going to go into a little more detail in this video. This is kind of a redo of I think it was the second episode of Real Railroads that I covered freight cars. Only I wasn't able to show pictures of them. I don't think UCut had the ability to add photos into videos at that time. And I never edited Real Railroads. I had planned on having the pictures displayed on a screen behind me, and something went wrong with that. It wasn't working right, and I had to ditch that effort. But now I have some of the photos I've taken edited into little around 30-second clips, and they'll be interspersed between when I'm talking. So, what are we going to be covering in this? Covering various different types of freight cars. Unfortunately, I do not have photos of everything I wanted to cover, but it should make a decent length video, and hopefully I can keep it short enough that I can edit it together and not have too much problem. So first we're going to take a look at some 2-bay hoppers. These are owned by Genesee, Wyoming. At least, I think the only ones that I edited together for this are from Genesee, Wyoming. There are some non-rusted salt hoppers now coming out of the Hampton Corners mine of American rock salt that are owned by Andersons. These for the most part replace the DMM 4-bay cylindrical covered hoppers and Anderson's 3-bay rib-sided covered hoppers that used to be loaded at the Retzoff mine and then eventually Hampton Corners mine. These were built in the 70s, 80s. They're old grain hoppers, and they're nearing the end of their life expectancy. So I believe that most of them were pulled from service and probably scrapped. But you'll see some of those later on. In fact, probably after this video. No, because I'm going to do the other 2-bay hoppers. So these are salt hoppers. These carry rock salt from the American rock salt mine in Hampton Corners, New York. All around the world, you'll see these. I believe people have seen these in Utah and a lot of it goes to New England, Southern Tier. You'll see the loads heading east through Silver Springs on manifest freights heading to Binghamton and connections that way. Yeah. So let's get into that. Okay, now that you've seen those, now let's take a look at some other 2-bay hoppers. These are also salt hoppers, but these are owned by Cargill Salt, and these are a different type of material. They're not painted. It looks almost like they're brass, but they don't really rust. These you'll see only going through here on manifest rates. They'll go down to Corning, and then from there they'll go to the Finger Lakes Railway, or something like that. Maybe they might go to the Ithaca Central. I'm not sure who runs the mine on that one. But yeah, these are 2-bay salt hoppers owned by Cargill Salt, and we'll see you back after that. Now the next one. Other commodities hauled by 2-bay hoppers are other heavy materials. This includes sand used in hydrofracking. This is a major commodity on the Southern Tier Line with a lot of cars, hundreds of cars. And a while back, I recorded a train of 200 carloads of frac sand going to either Corning or Sayre, Pennsylvania. Either Corning, New York or Sayre, Pennsylvania, or a combination thereof. This is the primary business of the Wellsboro and Corning. However, they haven't been doing very much frac sand. I believe they have 750 cars on order, carloads on order for that area. And the frac sand trains have been running every day. But frac sand is seen on every train that goes through, empties and loads. Loads going east, empties going west. They're on 36T, 37T, 3010, 309, and the unit train 68N, which is usually around 60 cars, but can run as much as 200 plus, which I have shown before. That's the only one that's been over 200 cars, but it can happen. So let's take a look at those. These, you'll notice they're cleaner. There's not really any rust on them, or no rust at all, because they're not hauling salt, they're hauling sand. Other commodities that would be hauled in hoppers such as these are cement, Portland cement, which is the powdery cement substance used in making concrete, and stuff like that. Now we go to 3-bay hoppers, and first we're going to do the rib-sided covered hoppers. Now these were used in salt service, hauling rock salt from the salt mine in Retzoff, New York, which then collapsed, and then they were used to haul salt from the mine in Hampton Corners when that opened. And now these are pretty much gone. You don't really see them very much anymore. Occasionally I'll see one coming through, but I think for the most part they've retired them and probably scrapped them because they were built in the 70s and some in the 80s, and they've been in salt service for 20, 30 years. Yeah, 30 actually. Yeah, they've been in service a long time, and they're rusty. Now they're not in as bad shape as some of the GNWR cars that you'll see going through. I'm not sure if any of the really bad ones were on the clip so I just picked some few at random. But yeah, these are used in salt service. They're not really seen anymore. Dan's railroad, he's doing quite a few of these cars for his salt train. Now where he is, I don't think you'd really see a unit salt train. I don't think there are any unit salt trains out there, but you definitely see these you definitely used to see these going through Ohio on manifest rates with salt loads. So let's see those. Now we go into more 3-bay hoppers. These are going to be more the grain haulers. In fact, every single one I'm going to be showing is going to be grain haulers. Now there's going to be one rib-sided at the end, and that is because that is not a salt hopper. That is a grain hopper. It's owned by Cargill, and it ships grain. It handles agriculture. These all handle agricultural products. Every single one I show you. They're Canadian Pacific grain cars. There's one crab orchard in Egyptian, which you'll notice is the same color as the Kansas City Southern covered hoppers that you'll see. I believe they are affiliated. But yeah, let's take a look at those. Those are all hauling grain or grain empties. In fact, you'll notice one of the brand new Canadian Pacific cars that push the limits as far as what can be handled. One other car that's shown here, there's only 2 pictures of them. These are potash cars. These are 3-bay hoppers. They're about the size of a 2-bay hopper. They are a little bit longer, but they have 3 bays. Instead of all, well, it could handle, it would look better for them to be 2 bays. For some reason, these are 3-bay, and they're shorter than a normal 3-bay. They're a little bit longer than a normal 2-bay. But these cars are very unique. You'll only see these hauling potash or soda ash. This next clip is going to be a little bit shorter because I didn't have the chance to dig through and find that many photos of them. But these are 4-bay grain hoppers. You'll usually find these are hauling lighter density ones, things that are not as heavy. This is a good example. This is dried distillers grains, which is a byproduct of ethanol, and I believe breweries produce this as well. This is a lighter density grain byproduct that is used in animal feed, and these cars come through Silver Springs a lot. There's a lot of agricultural businesses along the Livonia Avenue Lakeville, and the cars go from the NS in Silver Springs. They drop them off at the Rochester and Southern. Rochester and Southern takes them up to Brooks Avenue Yard, and then the Livonia Avenue Lakeville, when they go up there every day, they pick them up, they shove up in the yard, they pick them up, and they take them down, and they take them to their interchange with CSX, and then they run around them and take the cars from the RSR and the CSX down, and they get distributed to. There's a agricultural thing in South Lima, I think it is. It's on the remnants of the Livonia branch. And there's another agricultural business north of Avon, and I think there's a couple other ag businesses. I think there's one or two on the RSR that handles those cars. There's also in this a photo of a Dansville Mount Morris 4-bay cylindrical covered hopper. This was used for salt service. It probably was at one time used for grain service. But, of course, salt is very dense, very heavy, so it wouldn't have been loaded all the way to the top. Probably would have been loaded about half full to meet with weight restrictions for the car and the track. But, yeah, that's 4-bay hoppers. Let's do them. Okay, this is not matching up, but whatever. Okay, we'll go to more 4-bay hoppers. These ones is going to be the last one for this. I'm going to have to make this in multiple parts because I counted up the time and it's taking too long to be one video. So we're going to do multiple videos on this. So, Unfortunately, it won't be the 300. The whole thing will be the 300th video, but it'll be pretty close. These are plastic pellet hoppers. Now these are also something that I haven't been able to get that many pictures of up online. I think there's only going to be 3 or 4 pictures. So, but look at the bottom of the bottom of the car, and if you have to, go back to the past one and look at the difference between the bottoms, the difference between the discharges. This is how you know they're plastic pellet hoppers. They're connected by a hose to a truck or to a storage facility, and they're unloaded that way. They are not dumped out into a grate like grain is, because it's a fragile commodity, and it can't, if it's exposed to the environment, they're ruined. So these are a little more controlled, and there's these plastic pellets. These are all being interchanged in Silver Springs. I believe all the cars shown are empties going back to where they're loaded, but there's a company in Rochester that I believe they make plastic bottles. They receive plastic pellets up in can't remember what the name of the company is, but they receive plastic pellets, and there's like 3 different companies in these photos. But yeah, that's okay. So that concludes this episode, this video. Stay tuned for more videos, for another video on freight cars. Those will be box cars, gondolas. Is that a cramp? I don't know what the heck that was. But that will be a future video. I don't know when I'll get that up, but hopefully I'll get some more photos and I can put with them and make a good sized video. But yeah, see you later.